The author of this story is Sonia. It was midnight and I was in my room, sleeping. Suddenly, I heard someone talking loudly on the phone. I got up and went to the living room to see my mom talking on the phone, worried about something. She was saying, "Shalu, I'm really worried. What will Jimmy do after college? How will he take on responsibilities at home? We're having difficulties with money." Shalu, thinking about consulting a good astrologer to improve Jimmy's future career prospects and solve financial problems. Shalu auntie often visited our house in the afternoons and sat with mom for hours chatting. At that time, I was studying in the 12th grade. I didn't understand their conversations, nor did I have the time, but I could sense that auntie often ended up crying while talking to mom. At night, we often heard arguments coming from her house, and when we heard cries and screams, mom would rush over there. After some noise and commotion, everything would calm down, and she would return home slowly. Time passed, and one chilly December night, my little sister Goody had a high fever. A thick fog enveloped the surroundings, and suddenly, at 11 o'clock, we heard cries and screams from Shalu auntie's house. After some noise, our landline rang and I answered. "Jimmy, talk to Mom. Mom is with Goody. Auntie can't come on the phone. She's also not well," said the voice on the other end. Following their instructions, I signaled Mom to come to the phone, and she gestured for me to hang up. According to Mom's instructions, I disconnected the call. The daily routine continued, but one day, Shalu auntie's cries were louder than usual, and after some time, everything went quiet. That night, Mom didn't go to their house. By 5 in the morning, the entire neighborhood was buzzing with the news. Hearing this news deeply shook Mom. She would often wake up at night and rush outside, running towards the door. When Dad asked where she was going, she would say, "Shalu is calling me. There's trouble. Let me go." Dad thought that Mom was regretting not being able to save Shalu auntie that night. That's why she was reacting like this. Gradually, the atmosphere of our house began to change. Dad's business started failing, and all the loans he had taken to save his business were lost too. Dad had no other option left. In the end, he decided to sell our house. On one hand, our house was being sold, and on the other hand, something was happening that was hard to believe. Mom wasn't depressed. She was truly worried about Shalu auntie, and I had realized this myself. I didn't want to stress Dad by telling him about Mom, but now things were getting out of control. That day, I decided to tell Dad everything. That evening when Dad came home, he realized. The face was glowing with happiness. "What's the matter, Papa? You look happy today. Ready to give my bungalow at half price. Shalu says it's ready. She's left now. He doesn't want to stay in this house anymore. Just wants to leave soon, son. What joy it would be for us. We found a house in the same neighborhood at half the price. We won't live in that house where someone has died. It's just a superstition. All this, son, has depressed your mom. She needs treatment. And the biggest thing, I've paid the money. We'll shift there tomorrow. Papa doesn't want to hear anything else. That's why we shifted to Shalu auntie's bungalow after 2 days. The days spent in that bungalow were the most unfortunate days of my life. Mom's condition was worse than before. Papa and I were sleeping in our room, and Mom and little sister were sleeping in another room. Suddenly, in the middle of the night, we heard someone screaming and crying loudly. It felt like someone was beating someone else badly. My sleep was shattered. When I got up from my bed, I found that Mom and Goody weren't there. The whole bungalow was dark. I picked up a torch and called out to Mom and Goody, heading towards the room. When I reached the hall, I saw a terrifying scene. Goody's hair was scattered, and she had a strange, scary expression on her face, staring intensely at Mom, who was standing in the corner of the room, crying. Suddenly, Goody, in a strange way, started walking towards the wall, and then came running to Mom, crying and whimpering in her ears, saying, "Come with me, Mom, or I'll take Gudu." Hearing Goody's words, Mom fainted, and I was trembling with fear. All this noise alerted Papa, and he was standing far away, watching everything. As soon as he saw Mom fainting, he ran to the temple in the house, and from there, he brought camphor and holy water. Papa had great devotion to Hanuman, so he knew this solution. While chanting the Hanuman Chalisa, Papa lit the camphor and sprinkled the holy water around. After circling the house 3 times, he sprinkled the water on Goody and then left the burning camphor in the hall. Because of Papa's remedy, Shalu Auntie's soul left Goody. I made a mistake by not taking your words seriously and getting my family trapped in such a big mess. If we had stayed in this house for more days, anything could have happened. This spirit, son, is very powerful. I can stop it for a while with my remedy, but this remedy won't work for long. But Papa and Mom keep insisting on taking Mom with them. What if something happens to Mom? I arrange a solution with an exorcist. Nothing will happen. Don't worry. The next day, we went to an exorcist and got amulets made for Goody and Mom. A few peaceful days passed, but one night, I heard someone crying again. I got up in shock and ran to Mom's room. Papa wasn't home at that time. Mom was standing in front of the mirror in her room, writing something in red with her cut veins dripping blood. "I wish you had talked to me that day. Then I would have been alive," she wrote. I saw her hand was cut, and she was writing with her blood. Before I could do anything to save Mom, I heard Goody screaming for help. "Brother, save me! Brother!" I ran to Goody's room. Goody was standing on the railing of the balcony with one foot in the air. "What are you doing there?" "Come down, dear," I said. "No, brother, don't save me. I don't want to die," Goody cried. I was crying in front of Goody. "Brother will save you, Gudu. Don't say such things. Don't worry. Everything will be fine." I took Goody in my lap and came down, but by then it was too late. Mom had died on the floor, and blood was scattered all over the floor. But only I knew this. The spirit left us and went away, taking Goody with it. Papa couldn't bear to leave us alone that night and fell into deep depression. That dark night destroyed our entire family. If you like this story, don't forget to subscribe.